Hi, we're going to start the budget update webinar. Hope all's well. I mean, I am calling this the yin and yang budget, just because it's an interesting budget. It's quite a so I'm going to stop sharing the screen because I don't have that many. The interesting thing about it is that he is actually given quite a bit for literally, 2 years, and then he's going to be starting to ask for payment back for what he's been giving. And that's because obviously we've had so much given to us in the furlough, in grants and everything like that. So the interesting part is what we are getting extra support for. So it's the furlough. So the furlough, we're actually going to be getting that until September. And then what will happen is from July, it will go down to September. So it'll be still 80% that they're going to give until end of June. And then it'll go from July. You will have to give 10%, and then for June, and then July, August, September, it will be 20% that you will have to pay as an employer if that's you've got somebody furloughed. So that's till September. The reason why they're doing all this is obviously with the vaccinations, everything coming in place, it means that work is going to start back, but they reckon the whole business is going to take 2 years to get back on its feet. By taking 2 years, we've got till September. Hopefully people will be back in pubs, in hotels, things like that, the ones that have been doing massive furloughing, and then we'll be able to operate again and get back to some normality. Then also it's the same for the self-assessments, the SEIS. So that's the self-employed income support scheme. That there's going to be 2 more grants, the 4th and the 5th, and that's until the end of September as well. You won't be able to, if you are self-employed, apply for that until mid-April. And that will be sort of until the end of May, and then there'll be another one later on in the year. With that, you can now, if you did the self-assessment for 20 and 21, so literally just filed it, sorry, 1920, so 1920, the one that has just been filed in January, then you are able to actually get one as well. They will actually be contacting you if that's the situation. You have to do all this yourself online, basically, and then you have to answer some questions, and they will give you a grant. It's 3 months of your profits that you reported in your self-assessment. The last one that was reported theoretically. Okay, those are 2 really good ones. Then there's the stamp duty holiday for people who are buying houses. Our estate agent clients are loving this because it means they're going to have a little bit more of a frenzy. It does mean also I've got friends who are desperately trying to buy a house come the end of March, so they've actually been able to now just relax a little bit more because they've now got until the end of June. So the 30th of June, that stamp duty relief on sales up to 50,000 will be there. You're still trying to, Mandy has just said she's still trying to buy a flat that she extended to, oh my goodness, in 2019. That's amazing. Can't believe that. Good luck with that. Hopefully you now get the stamp duty. Just make sure you do it before June, Mandy. On that as well, there's the big thing that was being said, and this is our tax expert, David Logan, was saying it all the time. And also when you read it, there was big concerns that inheritance tax, or there's going to be a wealth tax, and everything like that is actually going to be it's the same. Nothing's been changed. Everybody thought that was going to increase to get some extra monies, and capital gains tax especially. We are waiting until the 23rd of March for real detail on some of everything of these, but also on potentially some increases. So we don't really know what will happen to inheritance tax. My tax specialist is saying that he reckons something will happen, and then so he says that if anyone is looking at inheritance tax issues, they might want to look at getting things sorted and in place now, tax planning, and then also on capital gains tax, the same there as well. We still have what was in entrepreneurs relief in place if you're selling your business. Again, that's something that everyone keeps thinking is going to disappear at some point, just to sort of pay some extra tax back. VAT, the VAT threshold stayed the same, so that's still 85k. So if you earn over, say, 75k, you have to be VAT registered. There was thought it was going to get lowered, and they still thought they might get lowered in the future, just sort of more companies come into being VAT and businesses into VAT registration. It's still going to be lower for hospitality and tourism at the 5% level until 2021, and then 12.5%, which we haven't seen for a very long time, 12.5%, and that's until the end of March 2022, which will come in after, in October 21. And there are some grants for premises. This is more retail. This is all retail and stuff there, which is 6,000. Then for gyms, personal care providers and hospitality and leisure, there's an 18 grand grant, which we will find out how to actually get that, or you will in due course. A lot of this detail is due to come in on the 23rd, if not after that. So there is also, a massive incentive, which we already got. I think it's £1,000 just to hire an apprentice. At the moment, there's another £3,000 on top of that to hire apprentices. So if any business is looking at hiring apprentices, it is a good time. And the reason is obviously they want the youngsters to come in, because obviously with all this COVID, people haven't been able to go on graduate training programs or anything like that, because there's not been anything around potentially. And also just, people coming out of school, doing apprenticeship schemes as well. There's a business rate holiday until June 2021 with 75% discounts after that. That's obviously retail and the ones that actually make that criteria. And then the big one that people have been talking about is this 130% super deduction from plant and machinery, so on things purchased. Now, if you're a small business, it's not a big deal. It's basically virtually the same. It's not much different at all. So what the difference there is only that you would get an extra 30% off that you would normally do, because unless you earn it paying for assets over £1 million worth in a year, you will always get the 100% AIE, so annual investment allowance, which we do in your tax return, corporation tax return, that is. You get an extra 30%, which is literally 5.7p in the pound extra that you get. But if you are big and you do more than £1 million, it's definitely worth it. We should get £130 because you would have to do the write down allowance over years after that. So that's the good, that's the yang, that's all of the good things. So freeze on inheritance tax, capital gains tax, well, no change, should I say, not just freeze. We've got this super deduction, there's the stamp duty holiday until end of June, there's self-employed SEIS grants until September, 2 more, and then the furlough extension until September. So those are the good things. The things that aren't so good and I'm calling the yin, is that the personal tax threshold is going to be frozen from the 6th of April 21 until 26, so 2026. Now that means we'll get this extra £70 on our allowance, so it'll be 12,570 from April, and then it's going to be frozen until 2026. This will get quite a lot of extra tax in, obviously, over that period, which we need as a UK, UK government does. The other one that's going up is corporation tax. So if you are, at the moment it's 19%, it's going to remain that until 2023. Then it's going to rise if you earn over 250k profit, it's going to be 25%. And then there's going to be a tapering sliding scale between £50,000 to 250. So if you earn £50,000 worth of profit, you will still be on 19%. This is on 2023. And then it'll be sliding scale. So it's not going to be that different to what it used to be not that many years ago, when we had the higher rates tax at 25% or whatever it was back then, because it was higher before that, before it came down. For those over 250, it has lowered the rates at the point that you take that extra payment, and then a sliding scale. Interestingly though, because I was looking at the statistics, that businesses that earn up to 50,000 K's worth of profit, that's 70% of all the businesses in the UK. So most of the businesses, like 70% of businesses, limited companies and businesses in the UK will be only paying, limited companies will be paying 70%, 19%, because that's 70% of the population. Then the companies that we're paying at the 25%, that's only 10% of the companies in the UK, because only 10% of them earn profits above £250,000. So we've got this 20% of limited companies between 50k and 250k that will be tapering. We don't know the details of that tapering. It's not going to be too onerous, I'm sure. So, but we'll be finding that out hopefully on the 23rd, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's that. It's not massively different to what we used to have. The 19% is still less than the small business rate used to be, which was 20%. So it's still good for if you're earning 50%, £50,000. If you're going to be on the tapering relief bit, I'm guessing it's probably going to be go up to 20% if you earn up to say 150k profit, and then up gradually from there. Maybe I don't know what the details will be, but it's not going to be that massive a deal to us, but it'll start in 2023 unless you're earning 250. There is, if you're earning £250,000 worth of profit, then we should be looking and talking about tax planning, because we've got 2 years to do that in now. And if it's going to be an issue. The big one here is that pensions, we've still got the allowances on there, so you can put money into your pension, use that allowance up is what I would recommend if you're able to. It's £40,000 a year that you're allowed, unless you're on a higher rate, but if we can talk about planning around that, and with your tax advisor, obviously your IFA. But that's one thing. Annual capital gains tax exemptions and pensions, like I've said, inheritance tax, they are frozen until 2021 levels until 2026. And then we're not sure on some of the other ones, so it's till 2026, but the more detail will come out on all that. Now, that's basically all the yin and the yang. The other one's just our minimum wage is going to increase to £8.91 from April. There is contactless. I didn't realize this, but contactless is now going up to £100. So if you use a contactless machine, you'll be able to use it up to £100. All alcohol duties, they were frozen, so that's great. Fuel duty, that's also frozen, and tobacco duties are going to go up by inflation plus 2%. So that's just for tobacco. So the big thing is on the, on all of this, we've got furlough, we've got some more grants, extensions. We will then have the increase in corporation tax, which will definitely be, more problematic to those on 250k, more 25%. And there may be some extra allowances or anything that they look at that they haven't said are frozen at the moment for a certain amount of time, that we find out more about on the 23rd of October, the 23rd of March, and then down the line. I don't know if there's any questions. I don't want to go into more detail on any of that, because what's going to happen is that we'll have more detail on some of it. The furlough is the main one that lots of you are using. And we will be sort of making sure we keep that up for you if you're wanting to furlough people. The SEIS grants you will have to apply for yourselves, and also the grants for the premises as well. But we'll be able to help you out on we will be doing the super deduction on expenditure on plant and machinery. And any tax planning you may need, just let me know and we can have a book a meeting and go through that. Are there any questions, guys? I mean, let me just have a look. Oh yeah, Mandy, yes, of course, you in France, you don't do stamp duty now because of the move. With the furlough, I've got a question here on the furlough. Yes, the question is, will I have to pay, carry on paying NI and the employer NI, and the pension? Yes, you will, on the furloughed amount. So you'll carry on paying that. Government won't pay that you'll be paying that. You will then have to go up 10% in July. So of the 80%, you'll have to pay 10% of that, and then 20% in August and September. Of course, you can pay more. You can pay up to 100%, which some of our guys do, the clients do. Just got a question here. No, there's just a question which is not relevant today. Well, Mandy, I'll pick you up on that, because yeah, that we'll pick that up on offline, if that's okay. The other question I've got here is on the SEIS grant. How do I apply for that? It is online, so you will have to go online. It's the same as before. There's some questionnaires. You just have to answer that you've actually been affected by COVID and that you can go ahead. And then they will give you the grant automatically. If you haven't done a tax return for the 18-19 tax year, now you've done one 19-20, they should be contacting you on that. And then you'll be able to actually get some as well. It is you know, 3 months worth of whatever your profit was for that year, you know, on a pro rata basis. The other question I've just got is, yeah, with the corporation tax, do you know what the rates will be between the 19% and the 25%? We don't know them. Obviously, I think it's going to be some form of sliding scale. And we'll find out more detail about that. It will go across years. So if your tax year straddles wherever the period is that these rates go, then we will obviously apply 19% to the rate that period relates to, and then whatever the rate is after that, or 21, 20%, whatever that is to that. Just one more question. Yeah, this is about capital gains tax allowance. That has remained at 12,300. It has been frozen at this level till 2026. We had thought that was going to be a massive impact, as in they were going to lower that. So far they haven't talked about the entrepreneurs relief, which is now quite asset disposal relief. So that could come into it at some point in the future. Inheritance tax is also frozen, and that's a 325 for each person, or 650 if you know, your spouse, with your spouse. The one thing is on that is that with there's nothing really been said about moving your home as an asset down to up to £1 million. If there's any change on that to your either your kids or anyone gifting it, basically there's not any talk of that changing, but they haven't said it's going to freeze either, so that could be something that changes in the future. Just one more question, I think. Let me just see. Yes, these are the grants just for the gyms. Yes. No, we do have obviously some people who have gyms. They've had to obviously go online. So the question is, how do I get my £18,000 grant? Now that you will just have to wait, and you'll have to just go directly once that's available to you. They should be contacting you, but if not, then contact them. Okay, guys. If there's no more questions, then we're actually done, which is good. What we'll probably do, I mean, I'll definitely do another blog if there's more details on the 23rd, well, after the 23rd of March, because there'll be more details out then. And then if there's anything that we need to do another quick webinar, we can do that. It's always good just to have it out in the air. So if you've got any questions, you can ask me. Obviously, you can email me at any point. Okay, well, have a good, if there's nothing else, then have a good Tuesday, and enjoy the sun here in sunny Tunbridge Wells. We have sun, right? And my kids are back to school, which is good for them. So they've literally gone back to school this week. My daughter went today. So enjoy well, it'll be quite peaceful here. I have enjoyed having them here, but it's better for them. New legislation. All right, take care. Bye.